Good morning, everyone. This is Rajai Khadim, the head of LinkedIn MENA Public Sector Talent Solutions. Today, I welcome our esteemed guest, Dr. Mohammed Al Ahbabi, Director General of the UAE Space Agency. Welcome, Doctor.
Thank you. Thank you.
So, as you know, we are organizing this executive speaker series on LinkedIn for leaders in the public sector to share with us their latest insights, comments, and news about subject that matters to our members. And today, Dr. Al Ahbabi joins us from Japan, Tokyo, in anticipation for a historic moment coming next week, July 15, where the launch of the Hope probe to Mars will be happening. But before we start with this important topic, I wanted to maybe ask Dr. Mohammed something that we usually ask any member on LinkedIn, especially at LinkedIn, to know more about you is what is not on your LinkedIn profile, Dr. Mohammed, that we maybe would be nice to know about you.
Thank you, Rajai, and I'd like to thank you and thank LinkedIn for this opportunity. It's great to share some information about UAE space program and what we try to do in this part of the world. Probably the things that it's not listed in my profile or any bio or CV is I have a hobby which is falconry. I grow with the culture of falconry in UAE. It's very famous sport. I was given an opportunity to join His Highness the late Sheikh Zayed, and he was the father of falconers in UAE, and he promotes this sport, and also he put some initiatives to preserve these types, especially falcons, keep them, grow them, treat them, and release them after falconry. So that was actually a hobby, and I still hope to enjoy it. But as you might predict, actually it's hard now to have the time to practice this. But I encourage my sons.
Interestingly speaking, moving from flying the falcons, you are actually now flying satellite probes into space, taking it to the next level. So bringing us to the topic of the day, the message of hope, and I believe it comes at the right time, especially after the challenging, difficult times globally during COVID-19. Message of hope to humanity, message of ambition, that things are, people are still ambitious and looking to achieve things. Please tell us more about the mission to Mars.
The mission to Mars, or the Hope probe, we call it, is a project that started in 2014 by UAE leadership. And basically it was intended to have a flagship space projects for UAE and for the region. And of course, it was decided after proper studies that a mission to Mars will probably fulfill that objectives from the government. The government wants to promote science and technology in UAE and the region, and also to inspire young people. So as you might know, space is a tool to do that.
Yes.
And we decided through space, probably we might achieve something in that regard. Plus, this project, we will learn through it. We will engage, we will network, we will, facilitate knowledge transfer to the country, technology transfer, and learning by doing. Sometimes certain knowledge you cannot buy unless you put your hands in and practice that. So the Hope probe came to a conclusion that a mission to Mars has to bring some value scientifically, not only to our region but to the world. And this is where we designed the mission to fulfill to answer some critical questions about Mars. As you know, there's attention towards Mars humanity try to explore Mars. Why Mars? Because it's the best candidate after our blue marble, our home Earth.
Yes.
It's the fourth planet from the sun. It's a rocky planet. It's possible for humanity to live there. Yes, there are some challenges, but of course need to be explored more so we can better understand Mars, and in order to prepare for humanity to go there. So there was questions for the mission to answer, and basically it's a spacecraft that will be launched inshallah within less than a week from Japan. Will cruise for 7 months. Then it will orbit Mars, and basically it's going to be collecting data and information.
It will arrive at the celebration of the 50th
Yes.
anniversary of the Union of the UAE, right in time.
Yes,
to celebrate that.
Yeah, that's correct. It will arrive in February, and by that time UAE will have completed 50 years, and this is where UAE will celebrate, of course, the Jubilee, Golden Jubilee. Now it will orbit Mars, collecting some data about Mars atmosphere, lower and upper atmosphere. It has scientific instruments. It will answer. The science is unique, so it's not
I heard it will do the first global imaging of the Mars atmosphere, which hasn't been done yet in terms of.
No, imaging Mars has been done before, but it has basically three major instruments. One of them is an imaging sensor, but it's not just only take images, but also collecting some data as well. Plus, two scientific instruments to measure certain elements about Mars. So basically, the question, the typical question that people try to answer, is there life on Mars? And the way that we, the science community, can learn more about that is by searching for water. If water is there, there's possible life.
It's a good sign.
Then we know from geology pictures and photos that Mars one day was a wet planet. But what happened to that water? A theory, claim that water maybe escaped and through the thin atmosphere, and this is where the Hope probe will try to answer some question, and we will learn more. But also more importantly, I think what we learn from what happened to Mars will help us to probably keep an eye on our home planet Earth.
Thank you, Doctor. So moving from maybe this historical launch mission, I know that UAE Space Agency has also a number of diverse projects that also first of its kind, including cooperation with the Arab countries. I couldn't help but notice a recent one, which is the Satellite 813 project. Maybe you can tell us more about this cooperation, and also why 813, the name has specific meaning, if I'm not mistaken.
So probably it's good to have a few words about UAE space program. UAE space sector today is considered to be the largest in the Arab region. Because with numbers, UAE today operates and owns 10 satellites in orbit. We have 8 satellites in projects, in manufacturing. We have 3 operators, 3 entities. They operate satellites in UAE in the domain of satellite communication, satellite remote sensing, and also now the space science, the space exploration. This is where the new domain of space has to come to the region, which is space science, space exploration. It was not there before. Then we have the space agency, first space agency in the region. We established in 2014 at the same time when the Hope probe was announced. Since that time, we work on a number of initiatives, including regulation. So we have fully regulated our space sector. Today we have national space policy, national space strategy, which is a roadmap for the next 10 years, what we need to do in space. And also, most importantly, space law. We just issued a space law last year. And this is, of course, very important to continue and for the sustainability of any space program. We work also in the area of education. We work also internationally. We have very We are very active. We signed more than 30 cooperation agreements with almost all space agencies on Earth. Now, why we are doing this? Because space is all about cooperation. No country can do everything, but we learn through cooperation, we engage, we network, and we shorten the time and lower the risk and also the cost. We also have, UAE has become a hub for space education. For example, we have 3 universities in UAE providing space education: UAE University, Khalifa University, Sharjah universities. We have 5 space research centers in UAE. Mohammed Al Ahbabi, probably the largest space research center, that's in Dubai. But also we have another 4 R&D space science, space technology, space engineering, attached to universities. And this is where we have a unique opportunity to promote, research and development, and to
we will come to that very important point on research and talent, hopefully in the next discussion.
Yes,
some questions.
and you just to your question, in 2016 we looked to the region, and as you might predict, it's not just only in space, but we try to help our region in different means and different areas. His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid, Vice President of UAE, interested to promote space not only in UAE but also in the wider region of the Arab world. He tasked us to start exploring that we can probably establish space cooperation, and indeed, we managed to bring 14 so far up to date, 14 space agencies, space entities from 14 Arab countries.
Nice.
Coming together to what we call the Arab Space Cooperation Group, which is a group that it's a technical but also a cornerstone for further cooperation, with the aim one day we will have Arab Space Agency, very similar to Europe and Africa.
Europe, yes, UAE.
So 813 was not just only for UAE to establish this group, but also to support that group with the project. And this is where the satellite, come in the picture. It's a remote sensing satellite, hyperspectral satellite, very advanced satellite that will orbit, the Arab world and collect data about, environment, about climate, localizing where the natural resources, what's the best time to do, farming. And this is what the Arab region needs. We live in a harsh environment. Space can help us to mitigate and lower, these challenges. And 813 actually came, His Highness, named the satellite. Typically, satellites don't have a number as a name, but this satellite was named 813. And 813 actually, it's back to the history. This is where, the House of Wisdom in the Arab world was established, 1813. And this is where, a lot of Arab scientists, in the area of astronomy and medical and society and social affairs, publish a lot of, knowledge and produce knowledge. And he wants this satellite to be a platform where the best Arab mind can come together and work together and, establish a knowledge generator, if you like, or knowledge generation.
Yes.
Period where this is the Arab region will shine again.
It's very inspiring, very inspiring. Thank you for sharing this story with us. I couldn't help as well from my research and reading to find out that whether on the Arab Hope probe or also on the satellite, whether construction for the satellite or the management and so forth, you are increasingly relying on local talent, Emirati talent or eventually Arab talent to assist in maybe conception, design, and so forth, and management, which is really inspiring that there's such an investment. And I came to understand as well that there is a new program to further invest, and then it's a gift from the UAE to the Arab world for growing talent in the space and science field, which is the Arab Space Pioneer Program for internship and education. Maybe Your Excellency, you can tell us a bit more about this program and its details.
This is also another initiative, in addition to the previous ones. Actually, if we go back to the Hope, the name, His Highness, when we have the project, he decided, okay, let's name it. but he did not, put a name forward. He asked, the Arab region, especially the young people to name it.
To submit the suggestion.
Yes, some, hundred, probably, tens of thousands, probably hundreds of thousands, provided names for that, satellite. Then the Hope, was chosen by His Highness. Why the Hope? Because he wants to, shine the light, in the eyes of the young people, that there's a better tomorrow.
Yes.
We just need to work for that. We just need to, put ourselves to the limit. And this is where the hope, if we have the hope, we can, solve most of the challenges. But imagine if there is no hope, people just, gave up. So this is first initiative, then the Arab Space Cooperation Group, then the 813. Now, His Highness, he wants to cash that hope to work. So we inspired through probably 6 years, a lot of interest, and I can see it actually in the Arab world. A number of countries established their own space agencies. They launched their own satellites. A lot of universities now, moving to space and science education in the Arab region. So there is a movement, and I think the UAE space program has some influence on the wider region, in the Arab region, and I'm very happy that this has been achieved. Then His Highness, recently, actually 2 days or 3 days ago, announced that UAE also will continue providing, these type of initiatives and its investment in the Arab minds, providing opportunities to the best possible, minds in the Arab world, and we are sure there are so many of them. And this is where we will, help to probably educate, provide experience in the proper tracks. And this is, of course, those people will be the core Arab Space Society or Arab Space, engineers, scientists, that they will go back to their respective countries. Probably they might stay in UAE or wherever they go, but they will be shining. And they will be stars.
3 years program. They learn around science and space, get to work on projects.
Yes.
I believe people can apply on arabtospace.com. Anybody interested, they can go and apply to arabtospace.com. I wish I could. I think it's too late for me, but for future generations, maybe this is a good option.
No, you can be, in the track of experts. There's track. The experts, especially, the wise people.
Yes.
Me and you, just like us.
Thank you. It's an honor. Final question, Your Excellency, and thank you for your time and all the thoughts, is what brings me to mind. You're launching a probe to Mars next week, knowing that in the last 90 days or so, due to COVID challenges, people were sitting at home, businesses were not, running as the way they used to. The whole world changed and then it came to a halt, so as to speak. Yet, UAE Space Agency team and its partners are launching into space. How did you manage to achieve this goal, knowing and facing those difficulties? And as a leader, what kind of insights and advice you can give to other leaders that are managing in times of crisis? This is my first question.
Well, yeah, I think back to the hope. If you have the hope, and as you probably know, that in UAE, there's, wherever you go, there's nothing possible. And this is, the nature and become the culture of UAE on the entities and the government and the entities and even the people. And when COVID came, actually, nobody knew that COVID will come. So it was not in our roadmap. It was planned, for the project that the probe will be shipped from UAE in certain time prior to the launch. Everything was clear. But when COVID came, things changed. And because we have a window, and that window, we have to launch in that window, which is July.
Yes.
If we don't have that opportunity, if we can't launch in July, we will miss the opportunity because Mars and Earth alignment, and we have to wait, 26 months. And you can imagine, the difficulties and the challenges, where you keep the spacecraft, where are the engineers will stay, what they will do, retesting again. It's a nightmare. Nobody wants to go through that. But because determination and because the team, it's a teamwork. Around the projects between MBRC, Mohammed Al Ahbabi Space Research Center, UAE Space Agency, UAE government, our embassy in Japan, and with other partners, because as I mentioned, the space is all about cooperation. We managed to, through COVID, when everything was frozen, no airlines, people don't allow another, visitors from outside to come. And Japan are a very strict country. It's not compared to other countries. They are really strict in that. But because the strategic relationship between UAE government and the Japanese government, because the cooperation between UAE Space Agency and JAXA. JAXA is the Japanese space agency, and also the determination from the team. They worked around the hours to manage to get, to secure flight. Not flight, because you cannot fly it in normal airplane. It has to be Antonov. It's a Russian, aircraft that needs to be there. That we engage with Russia, with the US for it's a lot of work actually. By having that probe to move from UAE to Japan, it's achievement by itself during that time. Alhamdulillah, through that determination, the team managed to get the spacecraft to Japan in ahead of the launch, probably 4 months. Now we are in our way to join the team, and we will launch hopefully next week.
So in summary, it's launching. Resilience, determination, also international relationships that made this possible.
That's true.
Alhamdulillah.
This is all about, and I can assure you, Rajai, that launching to space, it's not easy. Launching to Mars, it's difficult. Launching at this particular time in the light of COVID-19. It's very, very difficult. It's not just only us. Other countries, they canceled their launch.
Yes.
Their plan to go to Mars this year,
many factors
because the COVID-19, they canceled that. So I think it's really achievement to come to this stage.
Final question, and I think from the topic of working remotely, I believe that the UAE Space Agency is going to implement a permanent or a more developed virtual work environment. I believe you will be the first entity that will do this.
Well, basically, we have tried this during COVID-19. Actually, before COVID-19, we were trying to be pioneer in terms of excellence, in terms of because space, you have to be ahead of everyone, and this is where we, planned and tried to study, work a way to be a smart entity, smart agency, virtual agency. Why we need to go to opposite. So I have a dream team who has, these crazy ideas, and you can imagine people who work in space, just like this. But COVID-19 came and we demonstrated that. We were forced to work from home. Yes, it's a test. So it was for us, yes, really sad on the other side, but it was for us opportunity to practice that. Now we just, try to evaluate and see, the cost and benefits, and also achievements versus attendance. And I think a lot, not only us, but big companies around the world, they are thinking to move to this direction, because just like me and you now, we are. What does it
would not have been possible probably 1 year back. I would have been in your office most likely. But alhamdulillah, people adapt and people transform to the better. And thank you for your time, Your Excellency. I wish you the best of luck for next week's launch. Godspeed, and all the best to all of you.
Thank you, Rajai. Thank you to you and your team and LinkedIn. We are very proud that we team with you. We work together to spread, good knowledge, inspiring culture. And this is what we need in this region and in this particular time. Thank you so much.
Thank you. All the best. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much. Great.